Oklahoma getting it done at the crib. Final score 24-17 over Auburn. A very cheeky backdoor cover for those of y'all that were watching that closely. What do you make of this if you're an Oklahoma fan? A lot of different feelings I think you probably have after a game like this. We'll do our best to unpack all of it before we do that, though, if you're an Oklahoma fan. Or if you just love the greatest sport on the face of the planet, that is college football, make sure you're subscribed right here. College football, nothing but college football year-round. Get at me on the socials, Instagram, Twitter, at PicKell. Let me know how you feel about this one if you're a Sooner fan, man. Because I think going away from that one, there is two ways to look at that win. The first is, if you don't find someone else to run the football that's not named John Mateer, you're going to get beat by somebody that you probably shouldn't get beat by. Like, you can't average a yard of carry on the ground and go have a high success rate in the SEC. It's not sustainable. Even John Mateer wasn't like lighting it up on the ground when it came to his yards per carry. Now, he did a lot of other things through the air, which allowed you to win this football game. But you hear the point that I'm making. If you don't have a true bell cow to tote the rock for you, somebody is going to make you pay for that. Now, Auburn, I think, is a more talented team than a lot of folks realize, but you found a way to get it done today. So I think the other perspective here is, okay, a little bit ugly at times offensively. You probably should have, with the way your defense played, won that game by more. I think you tip your hat in some ways to what Auburn was, especially in their front seven. But you never apologize for winning weird in college football. Because if you want to win at a high level, you're going to have to win a weird one or two. The ball is shaped funny. It's a bunch of 18 to 22-year-olds out there on any given Saturday. Like, just weird stuff happens. You got to find a way to win games when you're not having your best day. Now, I don't know this from experience because my daughter is absolutely stunning at 10 months old, but I've been told you still love your ugly kids. You still love your ugly wins, man. Like, you take what you can get now. I think when you look at this game from the glass half full perspective, you say, okay, didn't have it in the backfield. We were in our own way. It felt like the majority of the day with almost 100 yards and penalty if you're Oklahoma. But your best player still had enough juice to carry you, again, in a spot where your offense was not all the way on their P's and Q's. John Mateer threw for 271, had it when you needed it, especially at the end of the game. I think you just kind of shrug your shoulders and say, okay, that's not great. We don't love that kind of showing from our offense, but we got John Mateer. They didn't. We won the football game because we had that guy playing quarterback, and also our defense had a school record 10 sacks. The defense was flying around. Defense, I truly believe, is going to keep them in every single game they play. Now, how many of those games they win goes back to the offense, and again, how many different punches they have. I was also impressed by the depth of the playmakers. Yet again, we said it during our last take segment. The depth of the playmakers at Oklahoma, I think, is wildly overlooked. Yes, you got Kannick, who I thought would be more of a factor today. You got Deion Burks. But Isaiah Satania had over 100 yards today. One of those on the sneaky / cheeky / borderline illegal trick play. I don't know if you want to call it officiating crew. Ben Arbuckle will slide a hand there for the touchdown, Isaiah Satania. The bottom line is I think you have multiple guys any given weekend for Oklahoma that can be a factor for you. So if you're going to take away Deion Burks, or if he's having an off day, it's Satania, or it's Keontez Lewis. Like, there's a lot of different guys that get the football too, which I think only makes you feel better about yourself in the pass game. But again, somebody in the run game has got to step up. So here's the biggest question I have for Oklahoma after a game like this. I mentioned, if you don't find another pitch offensively, you're going to lose games against teams that, quite frankly, I think you're better than. Like, the margin for error here was pretty slim. Like, Oklahoma felt like they were in control for the entirety of the game. Then you look up in the fourth quarter, and it's like, oh, we got to have a drive here to go win this thing. Like, Auburn just took the lead. And it's the fourth. Like, what is happening here? After it feels like we've controlled the whole game, we got 10 sacks. I digress. How much relief do you allow yourself to feel after a win like this? Because if you're Oklahoma, you're going to watch that thing back. There's some good on there, but I think there's a lot of bad as well. There's enough bad on that film, I believe, without having watched it as intently as a Brent Venables has, to get yourself beat if you're going to play like that in the future. So do you say, okay, didn't play our best, but we won? Good. Thank goodness. Awesome. Let's do the same thing this week in practice, boys. We don't need to bring anything else to the table. Like, we did our job, check the box, cool. We're still good enough to win football games. We'll just bring a little bit more juice on that upcoming Saturday, you know? Or do you say, hey, that wasn't good enough? Red alert. Sense of urgency button's got to be all the way ramped up here when it comes to this week of practice, because that's what the great teams do. They don't allow themselves to sit back and rest and feel good about a win. Because Oklahoma, I think if Brent Venables and that entire staff in Norman is operating the level that they'd like to operate at, which is, I think, championship level, they will treat that internally and grade that in a lot of ways as you would a loss. Now, you don't have that same feeling that you would have after you lose a football game, which is a massive benefit if you're an Oklahoma fan this afternoon. But you hear what I'm saying. That is not going to be good enough going forward. Oklahoma knows that. But the beauty is you get to learn that after a win and because you have John Mateer calling the shots here. So I'm still impressed by Oklahoma. I still think that offense is going to be good enough to play with anybody once they get that run game rolling. But I don't want John Mateer carrying the ball double-digit times when our defense is having 10 sacks on the afternoon. It should be a much more comfortable game for John Mateer and for Oklahoma fans in general. But again, still love your ugly kids. Oklahoma, you don't apologize for winning, especially not ugly in the SEC. You take all wins, all right? And Oklahoma can and will take that one, and I'm sure be better for it here going forward. So, Oklahoma fans, let me know just emotionally how you're feeling after that one. Got to imagine there's a lot of things to unpack internally there, but let me know your thoughts. Caden Smith, the 1s and 2s, myself, JD PicKell. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We will keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time.